exciting weekend for the SPL, and here are the rest of the fixtures. Tomorrow, Bastia Khalsa take on Tampines Rovers at the Toa Payoh Stadium, and the Lion City Sailors, champions last week of the Community Shield, beating Albirex Niigata. They start their campaign on Sunday with a matchup at the Jalan Besar Stadium against Hougang United. Well, that's the game week number 1 from the Singapore Premier League. Let's have a listen now to the two coaches of Albirex Niigata and Tanjong Pagar United, starting with Kazuaki Yoshinaga at the helm for Albirex again in 2022.
はい、非常に残念な結果に先週は終わりましたけど、我々がやってきたことを出せた時間帯もあったので、そういういいところをまた多く出せるように準備をしてきました。
So the last week, the match is we are very disappointed as the result, but we believe that at that time is that we showed you is what we prepared well. So this match also we prepared well, so we can show in the match.
First game of the season, and Tanjong Pagar is without some of the senior figures in the squad, with Blake Rishuto out, Shakir Hamza and Sharin Sabrin all out today. Who will you be counting on to fill those shoes?
Okay, first thing, it's not only them, but we got a lot of players out actually. We got only 15 available players. Amri is out as well, Dan is out, Sharin is out. There's a lot of players out, but we are still positive about that. League has to have to go on, so we definitely have to play the game today. But anyway, we are feeling positive as well.
Okay, results aside, what will you be looking to get out of this game in terms of fitness, performance, or even as a gauge of where Tanjong Pagar is looking to finish this season?
It's too early to say where we want to finish, but we just have to take one game at a time. Today is going to be a bit different. It's not an ideal preparation at all, but we're going to give our best shot, definitely.
So Hasrin Jailani finding the positives in the negatives for Tanjong Pagar United. An uphill climb, it seems, for Tanjong Pagar in this game. But having said that, it was an uphill battle for them as well in that final game of the season against Albirex Niigata, when they were 4-1 down, only to come back and string a 4-all draw in that final match of the season. A dramatic end to the SPL season of 2020. Roshan is here with me at the Jurong East Stadium. Are we being a little unreasonable, Roshan, in asking for the same for tonight?
We'd love to see the same tonight, right? From a neutral's perspective, probably not great for the fans of either these clubs or the coaches on the bench. They'll want a little bit more control from the performances of their respective sides. But look, that was such a great game of football, so entertaining on the final day of the season as well. Albirex really chasing and trying to put the pressure on the Lion City Sailors, going into a 4-1 lead. Sir Boy scoring all 4 goals for himself in that one. And then somehow they just collapsed in the second half. And credit to Tanjong Pagar for fighting their way back in that game. But let's also remember, go back to the first game of the season, the first meeting between these two sides. Albirex Niigata beat Tanjong Pagar by 6-0. So I think if you're a Tanjong Pagar United fan, you'll be hoping for either that 4-all or that 2-1 rather than a 6-0 crushing at the hands of one of the sides they'll be challenging for the title.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, that's the bounce back, and that's the clap back coming from Tanjong Pagar last season. All credit to them, of course. They won. They're the only club that beat Albirex last season by 2-1, as Roshan was alluding to. In fact, that was only their first victory against Albirex Niigata on the 17th time of asking. These two sides facing each other 18 times. Albirex have won it 12, and half of those 18 matches have ended in clean sheets for Albirex Niigata. So they are hot favourites coming into this. They've also played a match already this season in the Community Shield last week. You were there at the Jalan Besar Stadium watching that game. Are you in agreement that they were a little unlucky to lose that match?
I think, the issues with Albirex in that game were similar sort of issues that they had last season, especially in the run-in. When it came to the last few games of the campaign and they were under pressure from the Lion City Sailors, they dominated teams, they dominated sides, but they weren't able to put their chances away, put those opportunities away. And we saw something like that against the Lion City Sailors in the Community Shield. I thought they were really good in the first half, created lots of opportunities, couldn't take their chances. In the second as well, Lion City Sailors responded. It was a much better performance from the Lion City Sailors, changing their approach, their tactical shape, putting Anu in defensive midfield and pushing the players forward, which meant they could press Albirex higher up. So it put Albirex under a bit of pressure, but still they could create chances in the second half. Hassan Sani was in outstanding form for the Lion City Sailors. So for me, that's something as the season goes on, Albirex have got to work on. When they are dominating sides, when they're on top, they have to make sure they take the opportunities and kill teams off.
Well, let's see if they can kill the Jaguars off the first time of asking. This time around, they would know already that a 3-goal lead might not be good enough for this fixture, if we even get there in the first place. And for Tanjong Pagar United, Albirex is all about building, it's all about the youth. Tanjong Pagar United have got their potpourri of veteran players. They had one of the older sides last year, and this year, adding Daniel Bennett and the likes, they've probably gotten a little bit older.
Yeah, I mean, that was an interesting signing. I was scratching my head when it was made, but perhaps they want a bit more experience in the squad and on and off the pitch. So we'll see how that one sort of pans out for them. But it's been difficult for Tanjong Pagar in the build-up to this. You know, Hasrin spoke about the fact that they have only got 15 players available and there's imbalance in the starting lineup. So it's going to be interesting for me to see how they actually sort of set up here, because there are going to be a couple of players perhaps playing in different positions than they're normally used to.
Taufik Tana is the referee, assisted down the lines by Verolino and Justin Chow for the opening fixture of the AIA Singapore Premier League. We'll have a look at the lineups that these two sides put out in a very short while. Albirex Niigata, we see just at the bottom of your screen there, lining up, and it's the same starting 11 that started last week's Community Shield. Tadanari Lee is their star player. He scored from the penalty spot last week. The number 19 will be supported by the likes of Idetsu Sugita and of course Singapore's very own Hilman Norisham, just 18 years of age. He'll only turn 18 in May and he'll be playing just behind Tadanari Lee. And the list of the substitutes tells you the very youthful squad that is being put out by Kazuaki Yoshinaga. Well, if they're going to have the same sort of season that he had in 2017 and 2018, the first time he was in charge of this football club, then they're going to be in for a real treat. He hasn't lost an SPL match since the 3rd of July 2017. That is 35 games without a loss in the SPL for Yoshinaga. Tanjong Pagar United, we heard Hasrin Jailani earlier on talking about the players that he cannot call upon. Well, these are the 11 that he can call upon. It includes Faris Hamid, Emric Ong, Mirko Sugic. We think that he might be playing in that back three. Ryo Nishiguchi scored in 2 games against Albirex Niigata last year, and Blake Ricciuto passed fit very late on for Hasrin Jailani. That is a very important news for him, of course. Ricciuto, larger than life, always a delight to watch him play. He's going to be one of those players that they'll be relying heavily on in 2022.
Yeah, I think so. I think last season as well he was solid in that central midfield position alongside Fatullah, a young player that I really like. I'm a big fan of his, and I think he gives them a lot of energy in those central midfield positions, and it helps Fatullah that he's playing alongside someone with that experience and with the quality of Blake Ricciuto in those areas. I mean, it's been a little bit of a strange off-season for Tanjong Pagar in the sense that they released Blake Ricciuto at the end of his contract and then sort of decided that, hey, you know, perhaps he's not a bad player to keep around, and signed him on again, and he's come back into the starting lineup for this side. So, you know, again, I want to see how they sort of set up here. The build-up into this game has been really difficult, has been challenging for Tanjong Pagar, but this is where players can really sort of step up and show their character and their willingness to fight against the odds.
Well, the first kick of the brand new Singapore Premier League season will belong to Ryo Nishiguchi of Tanjong Pagar United, as he gets us underway here at the Jurong East Stadium, all the way back to Jafan Rohaizad, who didn't keep a clean sheet last season at all for Tanjong Pagar in between the sticks. And Albirex Niigata always would love the ball on the pitch, trying to ensure that it's silky and as smooth as always. Tadanari Lee's first touch, almost losing it on that battle to Sugic. Brand new signing for Tanjong Pagar United. Ricciuto on the ball now. Well, he's decided to leave it to Farid Hamid. And just talking about it earlier on, as but it launches it down the flanks. They do love to play their football down the flanks as much as possible, and that's a very clever ball inside. The early opportunity, and it's gone into the back of the net. Unbelievable. It is the opening goal after 47 seconds. It might be the earliest opening goal scored in an opening match of the Singapore Premier League season, and it's gone the way of Tanjong Pagar United, who have stunned the fans here, and it's that man again, Ryo Nishiguchi.
That's an excellent finish, and what a start for Tanjong Pagar. All the talk about the difficulties coming into this game, the challenges that they were up against, that they were facing, and they've gotten off to a blinder here. I mean, have a look at Nishiguchi. I think the marking is so loose. That's a lovely little run, you know, from Ryo Nishiguchi. I mean, he just loses Sambongi because of that sort of decoy. He drops in deep a little bit just to try and distract Sambongi before spinning in behind, receiving it in the box, and then it's a fine finish at the near post. Excellent start for the Jaguars.
Excellent start for us as well. Watching this game as Albirex Niigata look for the clapback in immediate fashion. And yes, do not rub your eyes. It is Tanjong Pagar United leading by a goal to nil, scored after 47 seconds. Be careful what we wish for. That's what they always say. We hoped that it will be a repeat of that 4-all draw. Well, we are right on track, Roshan.
Oh, that was so quick. I mean, I had my head down looking at the pitch and trying to see how Tanjong Pagar was setting themselves up, you know, in terms of the formation, in terms of players, as I said, playing in positions that perhaps they weren't quite familiar with. So what we've got essentially is that back three, which we knew coming into this. It looks like it's going to be Farid, Emmerich, and Fatullah in that back three. And then Nishikawa, who played on that left-hand side last season for them as that left wing-back, he's playing on the right. It's Akari, who's normally a right-sided player, playing on the left-hand side as a left wing-back. Then you've got Rushaidi, who used to play at right wing-back for Tanjong Pagar last season. Now he's in central midfield alongside Rishuto and Shugic.
Well, that's all on paper. The ball's gone all the way back to Koga. But of course, once the match starts, the coach will expect and hope for fluidity, of which you'd have to say Tanjong Pagar have gotten off to a real flyer here. Tadanari Lee using all his experience in the world to get in between ball and man. It's Emmerich Ong will allow the ball to bounce a little too many times in that aspect. Nishiguchi starting the season off the same way he left it last year. In fact, his was that final goal, that final nail in the coffin in that 4-all draw. It's new players, of course, except for the goalkeeper Koga from last season, Roshan, so they wouldn't have known about that 4-all. They wouldn't have known about Nishiguchi. Well, now they do.
Well, he formed such a wonderful partnership with Luis Junior last season. The two of them, I mean, really helping Tanjong Pagar out last season, banging those goals, creating opportunities, and they could always get it out into Nishiguchi because he's a wonderful dribbler as well, great with the ball at his feet. And when he gets it, when he turns it and he starts running at you, it always causes you issues defensively. If you're a defender coming up against a player like that, with that pace, with that trickery, and a finishing touch, as we've seen, you know, always going to cause issues.
Well, Albirex Niigata, a lot of fans and supporters expecting a little bit of a comeback right here from them. Sugita is on the ball, looked very nippy last week in that match against the Lion City Sailors. Took himself and got around his marker, only to be fouled, and he's won a free kick for Albirex, of which they will be looking for the head of Tadanari Lee and Kobayashi in the box. I love these pint-sized pocket rockets, don't they, Albirex Niigata? It's almost as if you're 1.67 meters to 1.7, just line up and Albirex will pick you up. And they usually perform right up to the highest echelons and standards. Here's another one of them, Idetsu, to take this free kick. 4.5 minutes after conceding. Are they going to find the equalizer from this? It's drilled right in, and it's very well defended, headed away, but danger's not over yet. Waiting for the ball to be swung right inside. And it does come in. Oh, it's a lovely take, that one was, and that's an opportunity. Jarfan did extremely well, but how about that for composure in the penalty box for Tadanari Lee?
I'm seeing Keto Haria as well getting forward from those set-piece situations. Really good in the air as well. You know, he was winning lots of challenges up against Kim Shin-wook in the Community Shield last week. But Albirex looking for a quick response. The initial free kick sent in by Idetsu. Good quality on his right foot. And then it was Omori on the other side, the left back, getting it onto his left-hand side and swinging a dangerous ball into the box.
Sugita didn't want to put the ball forward for Hillman because he had strayed offside. So this is where Albirex just love building up the ball, caressing the ball with all the love and tender care in the world. And just when you say that, possessions given away cheaply.
Yeah, I think it was Kakuta just getting crowded out by a few of those Tanjong Pagar United midfielders. It's been a difficult pre-season for Albirex as well. You know, players, you know, coming in late and not really being given an opportunity. They've obviously had things like quarantine and things like that to deal with. So it's been a bit of a disruption. It's been disruptive for Kazuaki Yoshinaga. And I think he's expecting his side to improve, get better. They have more time on the training ground as the season goes on. But they won't, they've got to be careful, you know, in that sense. They won't want to fall too far behind.
That's a lovely ball by Haria, played on the outside for Sugita, who's been very heavily involved in the opening minutes of this game, looking for the angle for the shot or cross. It was a cross come shot, and Emmerich helping to clear it in the end. Referee's whistle had already gone. Was that for an offside? No, that was a push in the back. That's a free kick to Albirex, taken very quickly by Kobayashi to Kakuta. This is the other Kobayashi, Jun Kobayashi, a former Cerezo Osaka under-23 player. Sambongi. Kakuta loves to string the passes along in the central of the pitch. Kobayashi, Tadanari Lee looking for support, almost having to spin and do it all by himself. This is where they do their living, isn't it? Living and breathing that passing football, short touches in and around the edge of the penalty box, just to flummox their opponents. Not the best of passes out, and it's going to be Albirex ball. Nishikawa it was, played behind him. Tadanari goes all the way back to Sugita.
Yeah, he wanted it in front of him there, Nishikawa, into the space in behind that Albirex defense from Emmerich. Miscommunication there. But I mean, in terms of the rhythm of the game, the flow of the game, this is perfect for Tanjong Pagar. You know, they've got their early goal. They can be patient. They can sit back and make it compact, and then look to try and hit on the break.
The ball's swung to the far post, and Jafran comes out to collect it, looking for his first clean sheet in the Singapore Premier League since the 28th of July 2019. He's never kept a clean sheet against Albirex Niigata. In fact, it will be a big bonus for Tanjong Pagar if they manage that. But of course, the 3 points is what the Jaguars are after, and they've put themselves in prime position for that with that early strike from Nishiguchi. Well, it seems as if Tanjong Pagar very much the bête noire, or the bogey side, if you'd like, for Albirex Niigata. And it's lovely work by Sugic. He's already played a splendid ball inside. There's another one, and that's another goal. He looks across, the linesman doesn't fag, and it's Nishiguchi who is on the double, and we haven't even reached 10 minutes. Tanjong Pagar United are 2 goals up in the first 10 minutes of the brand new Singapore Premier League season, and it's that same tandem again of Sugic to Nishiguchi.
Well, they're all over the place defensively here, Albirex. It's incredible. I mean, it's wonderful work from Sugic in midfield, just to skip past the challenge. Lovely bit of skill, nice footwork to lift it past the opponent there, and then to play a ball into Nishiguchi, just peeled away from his marker and lifted it over Koga. What a start for Tanjong Pagar. I mean, what trouble, what struggles. They look really comfortable on that pitch.
Oh, if that first goal was all power, that the second one from Nishiguchi was all about placement, perfection, and it certainly was. Well, it was a tough start last year for Tanjong Pagar United, Roshan. 4 losses in a row to start the season. In fact, they didn't win until match day number 6. But they ended the season well. I mean, aside from that 4-4 draw, they actually had only 4 points less than Albirex in both their sides' final 10 matches of the season. So maybe they've taken a little bit of that feel-good vibe into this brand new season, the way they've started this match.
Yeah. You know, they've always spoken about, talking to Rishuto last season, and, you know, touched on the fact that the second half of the season, they just suddenly sort of woke up and started winning matches and went up the table. And he spoke about, you know, the spirit in the squad, and it was always going to take a bit of time for that to sort of come together, but it's a great group of guys, he said. And also, you know, they started to understand more of what was required from them out of Hasrin. So, you know, it looks like, as you said, they've carried it on into this season as well.
Shuto Nishiguchi trying to turn creator. He has created a corner. Kobayashi it was. Well, they've started quarrels themselves now, Albirex Niigata. Just accusing looks at one another. The inquests have started after the opening 10 minutes, of which they've conceded 2 goals, and it might get even worse here. Or is this going to be a full circle revenge where it's Tanjong Pagar United's turn to actually take that 3-goal lead?
I was just thinking, oh, you're thinking of 3-goal? I was thinking 6-0. Or the 6-0 from early last season between these two sides.
Oh, that would be a coup. We might be halfway there. If they do something with this corner situation, they've got the big boys in the box, including the new man Sugic. Goalkeeper comes for it and got nowhere close to it. Koga. It happened last week as well in the Community Shield, where he didn't get anywhere close to that opening goal for Lion City Sailors.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on with Koga at the moment. You know, he doesn't look like he's his normal, confident, assured self. You know, he made a couple of strange decisions, and I think especially for the Lion City Sailors equaliser of Chinook coming off his line. And it hasn't looked as steady as he did last year.
Well, at the moment, you trust a loan shark more than you trust the Albirex goalkeeper, and he's got another cross to deal with here. Came off the header. I tell you what, he didn't look too comfortable dealing with that either. Emmerich right inside the heart of the penalty box. Contract renewed for another season for an ever dependable player who can come on and fill various positions.
This is Rushaidi on the set piece. Says he's got good quality with his deliveries. We're just looking to make a nuisance of himself, Emmerich. They're standing in front of the goalkeeper along with Rashuto as well. Something that they've perhaps looked at, thinking that, you know, we could really trouble Koga because he doesn't look quite confident.
Here is Omori cutting inside, but they're finding a very congested Tanjong Pagar midfield right in front of them, while closing down the spaces and the gaps, ensuring that there are no channels for the Albirex players who can pick a pocket really easily at any given moment. So that's another loose cross, easily picked out. The clearance wasn't very good though. Kakuta back on the prowl now for Albirex. Tadanari Lee inside the penalty box, waiting for a delivery to come from Idetsu and Sambongi. Well, they've worked the 1-2 well enough. Didn't get the angle for the shot. Sugita swings that one to the far post, but it's a little too long. Well, it's never a good sign, isn't it? Albirex Niigata players just almost screaming at one another, and they're almost at each other's throats at the moment.
Well, it's strange for me to see Albirex playing like this. Nothing is going right, as we see Sugita is really over-hitting that cross into the box for Tadanari Lee. He's not been afraid to let his younger teammates know that they need to buck up, they need to step up. We saw a couple of examples of that in the Community Shield. I think the expectation is, you know, he's coming in not just for what he's going to add on the pitch, but what he's going to bring off the pitch as well. And that's exactly that, to try and help his teammates raise their game, raise their level. You know, he's been there, done that, seen it all. Got the t-shirt, a few of them as well, I think.
Omori, that's a very clever ball. Farid allowed it to bounce past him, but you'd have to say that's very good defending by Akari. Dangerous by Farid.
Good alert play from Akari, making sure that he was tucking in, just helping his central defender out.
He is just hooking that ball away. It's Tombongi. Rishuto, I have to say he's bossed the middle of the park alongside this man, Sugic. Early signs are that their new signing looks quite a player. 2 assists already for the season for Sugic.
looks good, doesn't he? Nice and comfortable, confident on the ball, in possession. And it just looks like he's sort of just gliding across the middle of the park. Sugic looks like he's got far too much time on the ball. You know, it's always a sign of a good player.
Kakuta combining with Kobayashi, trying to clip it inside, just a little long, but it's well taken down almost. Tadanari Lee, and he knows that. He's got a cuter touch than that. Just got away from him. Very much against the norm, isn't it, Roshan, with the signing of Tadanari Lee for Albirex Niigata?
I think it was like a real sort of reaction to seeing what Lion City Sailors were doing in terms of their transfers. They brought in Kim Shin-hook. Albirex were like, okay, fine, we're going to bring in Tadanari Lee. But the interesting thing for me here is to see how he actually settles in Singapore, how he actually deals with playing on this sort of surface. It's got to be really hard on the joints. So, you know, I wonder how they're going to sort of manage him. And, you know, looking back at his last couple of seasons in Japan, it's been tough. I don't think he's gotten on the score sheet when he was at Kyoto Sanga.
Hidetsu, the touch was good enough to tee himself up. Shot though was feeble and easily gathered by Jarfan. Well, they're slowly starting to string their passes together, especially those crossfield diagonal balls. A lot of it happening down that left-hand side more than the right-hand side. Bricks.
Yeah, again, I mean, there's plenty of possession for them, especially in these areas. Tanjong Pagar are quite happy to sit deep. And I think, you know, if you're going to take a shot from range like that, doesn't catch it well at all. Tanjong Pagar will be absolutely delighted with the way things have gone so far.
It's 18 minutes and they are leading by 2-0. Both goals scored by Ryo Nishiguchi. One after 47 seconds, the other one 9 minutes later. At 9:47, clocked at 10 minutes on the stat sheet. At the moment, those goals have really frustrated this Tanjong Pagar side. Sugic has done well enough to get it right back. Jarfan's clearance just about got away with it, and an opportunity now for the counter-attack for the Jaguars. Good enough defending. Left a boot in, but the referee says no problems at all. Play on. Rashidi Salim.
Yeah, he's trying to just curl the ball in behind that defense for Shukri. Pagar's number 10 to go on and chase.
It's delightful from Kobayashi. And Tadanari. Kobayashi says, you're not supposed to be here. Go darting inside the penalty box. We'll try to look for you once again. It's still on the periphery of things, just outside the box. Omori, a touch on to Sugita. Once again, they come down this left-hand side. It's almost allowing the ball to run then. Hillman got a very late call from Omori. Jarfan.
He's unhappy with the back pass into him there. Jarfan is frustrated with his teammate.
Jun Kobayashi out to Sambongi. Edetsu on the outside. Decides to use it. Sambongi's gone running behind the defense. He's now in an offside position. Edetsu had to do it all by himself, and that was very close to Jarfan Rohaizat.
Yeah, already cutting a frustrated figure, Tadanari Lee, not getting any sort of service at all into him, and it's been very disjointed from Albirex. Loose passes, lacking ideas really. I mean, you got to expect this from Tanjong Pagar, and especially with the way the game has gone, the pattern of play in terms of Tanjong Pagar getting those 2 goals.
Defense at the moment in 6s and 7s, mayhem being caused. They've almost sabotaged themselves. They're trying to play out of it. Omori is assured enough, at least Sugita's ball, and just couldn't take it in his stride was Hilman Norisham. But this is almost head-scratching, almost perplexing. Roshani talking about the best defense in the Singapore Premier League last year, and they're 2 goals down, and they look very shaky at the back.
It's strange. I mean, look, I understand it can happen, especially if you've had a disjointed sort of build-up into the season. a disrupted pre-season, and when you've got young players in there, you know, you're trying to build a defensive unit, a defensive line. You need to sort of re-establish, you know, those relationships amongst the players, between the players, and it just doesn't quite look like they've done that early on. I mean, I say that, but it's a strange one for me because Community Shield, they generally looked okay, they looked decent, they looked organised. As we see a foul that's just been given away here. I think it's Omori, is it? The left back?
Yep.
Oh, and then Hari just goes over Shukri. I guess take your pick.
Well, you have to give credit as well to Tanjong Pagar, Roshan, because they've absolutely shown no respect at all to Albirex in the opening stages, and maybe the Lion City Sailors just paid them a bit too much respect in the first half. But Tanjong Pagar United has just come out and said, okay, here's the script, we're supposed to lose, now let's tear it up from the opening minutes. And they've gone for the jugular, and they have this 2-goal lead, which is very richly deserved. An opportunity to take a 3-goal lead now. Didn't do much in terms of the last set-piece situation. This one's Rushaidi behind the ball. Koga this time comes and claims. I'm sure palpitations from coach Yoshinaga every time he leaves his sticks.
I think could have been distracted as well by that run of Prosciutto just in front of him. Hopefully Koga on this occasion looking a lot more confident coming out to claim. I just wanted to go back to the point you were making about the Lion City Sailors and perhaps showing a bit too much respect in that first half. I think what's helped Tanjong Pagar here as well is the fact that they've been clinical with their finishing. You know, I think there's been 2 chances pretty much, and they've scored. And the first one was obviously the first one that they scored from with Nishiguchi.
Sambongi has been waiting a long time for the ball to get outside of him. He puts one down the line for Idetsu, running inside the box is nice enough. Sambongi's cross just lacked the right elevation to get to the far post, where Tadanari Lee was lurking. Combination then of Haria and Kakuta. Got the ball back to Sugita, who looks the liveliest Albirex player in the opening stages of this game. And he is free once again, but the cross is swung far too close to the goalkeeper.
Again, they're just running out of ideas, perhaps panicking a little bit. You know, it's still a long way to go in the game. We just feel like the ball needs to move quicker as well. There need to be a couple of players, perhaps the likes of Sugita. They need to be braver in terms of getting on the ball and running at that defense. That's one of the ways you can try and beat a low lying block with the individual quality that you have.
Koga always happy to play it low. Outside to Sambongi. Both him and Kakuta coming from the Kanagawa University side. And here is Kan Kobayashi. Mbongi out to Idetsu. Trying to keep that run alive, but that's passed down the line. Kakuta. That's going to be a free kick. Idetsu coming in too strong then on Akari, who's adapted very well down this left-hand side.
Yeah, it's an interesting one with the way they've set up there. You know, as I said earlier, Akari normally plays on the right-hand side, and Nishikawa's on the left, looking to link up with Nishiguchi. They've swapped their wing backs around, almost as if on that side with Akari they're playing as with that inverted wing back in a sense.
What's happening here, Roshan? We've played 15 minutes, we haven't seen a goal. We had 2 in the first 10.
Strange time.
Easily headed away, Tadanari Lee, first time pass. He was always looking for Sugita. Claimed that he was taken out of it as well, but the referee waves play on. Omori, yet again, the party's on the left-hand side, and they're not inviting anyone from the right. Sugita, touch on to Kobayashi. Tadanari Lee showing some signs there with his hands moving and saying that he wanted the tempo to be picked up a lot faster, because every time it goes into the center of the pitch, that's where it slows down quite a lot. Once again, credit to the Jaguars for actually closing down on every given opportunity and looking very dangerous on the counter-attack. Nishiguchi, that's going to be offside though. It's Shukri should have known a lot better, because he was looking right across at the last man and should have kept himself onside.
Yeah, he should have. I'm going to put that down to rustiness and the fact that he's been in his doing his national service, so perhaps not had much opportunity to play 11-a-side football. Coming back to Tanjong Pagar United after he's finished his national service, but really it was sloppy from him. He needed to keep himself on side in that situation, because what an opportunity that could have been, especially with Nishiguchi on the ball, carrying it through the lines, drawing defenders towards him.
It's been the busier of the fullbacks, Rushaidi, as Sugita has possession of the ball. It's Risciuto, and Emery clears it. I know it's unheralded, but Blake Risciuto is having a storming game at the moment. He's just snuffing out everything that Albirex have thrown in the middle of the park. Kobayashi, once again Risciuto is there. No way past him.
Yeah, you know, one of the things I've been noticing about that Tanjong Pagar United central midfield is that Sugic looks to be the guy who's the playmaker in there. Rujaidi, he's got a good right foot. You know, he's a good delivery, good passing range. But him and Risciuto are having to do a lot of running in that in the centre of that park, having to close down Albirex in those positions. And both of them so far doing a pretty good job of it defensively.
Sambongi. Once again, they just seem to lack a certain sense of rhythm once they're in the middle of the park. Mori has pushed off it, and that's going to be a free kick in a dangerous position, but they haven't done much with their set pieces so far, Albirex. And once again, it comes down this left-hand side.
A good bit of skill. I mean, he just stands up Nishikawa, who's got flat-footed, square on, through the legs, square on, and giving the attacker several opportunities to take his pick as to how he decides to beat you. That occasion, Omori deciding to go through his legs, taking the contact, winning the free kick. Let's see what kind of delivery Detsu can put in here.
Oh, the last one wasn't a bad one. Just couldn't find players tall enough to get at the end of it. Two centre-backs, Tadanari Lee, poaching inside the penalty box as Idetsu tries to curl it goalwards. It's Sugic. Talks about him being very good on the ball, but he is a big lad as well, isn't he?
Important defensive clearance there from Sugic. Really needed to get his head on that one.
Sense of urgency needed now with this pass. Well, it was a very good one, but two players got in each other's way. Kobayashi comes with that storming header. Came off the boot of Nishikawa. We haven't seen much of Shorai Nishikawa moving forward. He's had a lot of defending to do, helping out Rushaidi down this right-hand side as Albirex continue to build and set up camp down that flank. Sambongi is run in behind the defense, but he isn't found by Idetsu. Ball took a deflection of Akari, and it's a throw for Albirex Niigata, still trying to inch their way back into this game. Kan Kobayashi, yet again, not willing to clip the ball inside the penalty box. The delivery so far just haven't been Albirex-like. No choice but to turn around, recycle, rebuild, and go down this left-hand side again. Omori's touch too heavy, slammed away by Nishikawa. Back come Albirex Niigata. Gone on the front foot since going 2 goals down. As you'd expect, Omori's played a lovely 1-2 with Sugita. That's a much better ball drilled inside, but no one's inside the penalty box. Idetsu's kept that one in play. Good skill from the number 8, turning away from Akari.
Well, you pointed it out right there, Mark. Nobody in the box to sort of hit. You know, he decides to send a cross in. He's only got Tadanari Lee to hit, and it's not even, the quality on the cross is not good enough to find that lone target man in there. We saw a late run into the area from Idetsu.
Finally, some communication going on as Kobayashi wins an easy header. Kan Kobayashi side by side with Kakuta, both the central midfielders trying to combine and prise open and eviscerate this watertight Tanjong Pagar midfield and back line. All players bar the Albirex goalkeeper Koga inside the Tanjong Pagar half now. Farid's extravagant enough, had to do that to prevent Kobayashi from running around him. Kakuta, space opening up for Sugita. Does he have enough courage to take it on? He does. Goalkeeper spilled it, and Tadanari Lee was it, who came storming in, trying to get a touch at the end of it, and you'd have to say very good defending from Farid to tow it away from him.
That's much better from Albirex. I mean, they're patient at that point. At least they're not sort of rushing it. They moved it right to left, left to right. They come back here again, and they're able to find Sugita in a bit of space as it opens up. Not a bad attempt at goal. Zafan, I mean, he's got to be doing a bit better with that. I know it comes to him quickly, but it's at a good height for him to really sort of get his arms towards it and punch it away. Thankfully for him, he had Farid on hand, his captain, to help him out.
I mean, there wasn't a lot of poison behind that ball as well. It could have held it too. It's the other option for Zafan Rohaizat. It's very good work by Farid Hamid. We were talking before the start of the game, Tanjong Pagar United last season, this season, full-backs turning into centre-backs. Farid, Shakir and the likes.
Yeah, I mean, he's done well, hasn't he, Farid, to sort of reinvent himself into a central defender over the last couple of years or so. Remember him? He used to play at right back and or right wing back. You used to see him bombing forward down the right hand side. He's been converted into a left-sided central defender. Imagine that.
A space opening up just behind Farid. Tadanari got a touch to it and allowed Akari to hook it away. Once again, they come at the Jaguars, but the men in navy blue just repel it. And at times, with consummate ease, that is the more worrying factor for Yoshinaga. How the attacks just peter out whenever they get into the offensive third. Kobayashi. Oh, that's a lovely touch by Omori. Had to be defended. Finally, there were players in the box waiting for the delivery, and Emmerich was there to ensure that Zafan didn't have to go to work.
Yeah, good defending by Emmerich. And this is so close to their own goal anyway, Tanjong Pagar defenders. The moment Albirex do get in behind and look for that cross, they're already there in a sense. So get a head or a foot on it.
Just the first corner of the match for Albirex Niigata, and it's a very poor one. It's all well and dandy playing it short, but couldn't do anything with it. It's a free kick as Sugita held goal scorer Nishiguchi back. Well, that in a nutshell, I guess, that corner situation where they played it short and then just passed it straight to a Tanjong Pagar player. That's probably summarized the 34 minutes that we've seen from Albirex in this opening bench.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, again, I said, repeating myself again by saying they look so disjointed, they're lacking a real rhythm in their game, a real pace and intensity to their play. I mean, perhaps shell-shocked, you know, that they've conceded that early goal and they've gone 2 goals down against a side that maybe they thought, you know, should be relatively straightforward this game. Was there a bit of that creeping in, a bit of complacency? That's something that will be interesting to check on with Yoshinaga after the game.
Remember, Yoshinaga, in his first spell in 63 matches, only lost twice in cup and league competitions for Albirex Niigata. If he loses here, he would have lost as many in his first 2 matches in 2020 as he did in those 2 years. You want to know that he's got his work cut out for him at half-time if the scores remain. Well, maybe that's the reason why they haven't taken those shots from long range. That's a disappointing effort from Kan Kobayashi.
And that's a clear sign that they've run out of ideas here, Albirex. They're not sure what to do to try and break down this deep, low-lying Tanjong Pagar United defense. And they're going to let you shoot from that sort of range all day long. They'll be happy with that, especially with shots of that quality.
Well, there are tongues wagging, I can tell you, of Ilhan Fandi actually joining Albirex Niigata for this season. Maybe he might fit into that role of a creator just behind Tadanari Lee, in that role he absolutely adores.
You know, if that were to happen, if he was to move to Albirex, what a great move it'll be for him, for Ilhan. I think, you know, he goes over there, he gets an opportunity to really train and experience a different way of being a professional. And with Albirex, you know, they're quite happy to use their connections in Japan to give trials to players and opportunities to players overseas. So I think if that happens, it'll be a really good move for him.
Omori, these Albirex players might need someone in the ilk of Ilhan as well. Ball's played in and it's offside. Flag went up immediately.
See, again, that's the frustrating thing there is that Tanjong Pagar defense is so deep. They're right on top of their penalty box. How can you be offside there? There's like no space to run into. How is he offside?
Hilman Noriyasham, guilty party then. Police spotted by the assistant referee. And Jarfan, who's largely been untroubled. Just a couple of crosses that he'd had to come in and claim. And then that save from Sugita. This is good work by Kakuta to turn away from danger. Look at Rishuto, just chasing down every loose ball as if his life depended on it, and Sugic certainly came in with that sliding challenge to help his teammate out.
I think he took offense, Sugic, and me saying that he's not quite as defensive as Rishuto and Rujaidi.
Tadanari Lee chasing after his own stray pass. Emmerich knows that he's got to clear it first time with a couple of Albirex players in close proximity, and here he is again, having to complete this clearance with Hilman chasing him down. Enough confidence to take it around Hilman, or trying to spray that pass out to Shukri. Rishuto just charging and biting into every challenge so far, so to Tadanari Lee, who has worked his jewels off, but to no effect though. Sambongi, Tadanari still inside the box, but the deliveries haven't been very good so far. Sugita, somehow the ball's fallen to him. Well, that's another disappointing cross, and look at Tadanari Lee's reaction to that young left winger and his delivery so far.
Yeah, I think he expects a lot better from his teammates, and I think he's quite right to expect that, and we certainly do. I think when you've seen Albirex, you hear what's happening here. Sugita's looking to just use that run of Omori as that decoy, and just for that split second it distracted Nishikawa, which allowed Sugita an opportunity to just cut in onto his right foot. But then the quality with the shot, you know, I don't think he was quite sure whether he was going to sort of curl it in with his instep or really sort of hit through the ball, and in the end it was kind of neither really. Perhaps got in two minds as he attempted that shot.
Neither nor really sums up the first half for Albirex. As we approach the final 6 minutes of the half, with Tanjong Pagar leading by those 2 goals scored in the opening 10 minutes, one after 47 seconds, one after 9 minutes 47 seconds, both coming from Ryo Nishiguchi. Charfan had to storm out of his line to keep the ball in play, otherwise it would have been a corner to Albirex. Farids, this is more like the Farids of all. Halfway through that run, he remembered the Farids of New and decided to just release the ball and go right back into his position yet again. They've organized themselves well enough, you'd have to say, Tanjong Pagar at the back.
Yeah, they certainly have. I mean, you know, when they're out of possession, they just drop into a sort of a back five with the 3 in front of them of Rishuto, Rujaidi and Sugic. And then, you know, with Shukri and Ryo Nishiguchi just ahead of them, it becomes a 5-3-2, and then they can just be patient here. You know, we've seen them being largely untroubled. Albirex shooting from range, hasn't been enough quality in their overall play. And then when they do win it, they can look to try and hit on the counter attack. They've got pace in those forward positions with Shukri and Nishiguchi.
Omori side by side with him once again is Sugita. Omori's decided to take Nishikawa on for a run. Nishikawa's got some pace about him as well.
It's a great challenge by Nishikawa as well, just to win the ball back there. You know, Omori was trying to skip around the outside of him. He got his body position and his shape absolutely spot on there, Nishikawa. Though this is Blake Rishuto. I couldn't quite see what was actually wrong with that, to be honest.
Absolutely right. He's got every reason to disputes that decision put out by Taufik Tana to give away the free kick. Well, they haven't done much with these dead ball situations. Let's see what they can do with this one now. It's that same man on the ball again, Idetsu, to take this for Albirex. To the far post, once again easily headed away by Tanjong Pagar. Everything that's been thrown at them has been thrown back out.
Yeah, they've dealt well with everything in the air, Tanjong Pagar United, that defence. They've got enough height in there, players who can go in and attack the ball. We've seen Sugic come with a couple of really big headers away.
Just not one delivery yet which has asked any sort of questions at all of the back line. That's another one that went near. It's kept alive, but another easy clearance by the men in blue. Kakuta. AIA. Kakuta, space, loads of it available down this right-hand side. Sambongi to Idetsu. Tadanari Lee, they'd rather him inside the penalty box, but he's drawn a defender away with him. And he's still outside the box waiting for the ball to be played. Maybe looking for a quick interchange of passes. Tadanari Lee decides to go for goal himself. Oh, not far away. Well, that's what the veteran usually does. He's deciding to just take the game on the scruff of his very own neck and take responsibility all for himself if his young teammates are not doing it.
Yeah, I think he was just getting frustrated, not being involved so much in the play, not quite getting the service that he needs in those areas. It popped up on the edge of the box. Nice little triangles there on the right-hand side from Albirex on that occasion, but a space opened up for him to have a shot at goal. Just couldn't quite get enough dip to really trouble Zafan.
3 minutes left for Tanjong Pagar to hold on to this, and Hasrin Jailani will have one of the most romantic talks at halftime. Dressing room talks with his players. Maybe even better now if they can make something out of this. It's kept alive, but always running out of room to measure that cross. And for the Albirex bench, Kazuaki Yoshinaga. Choice words to be used at the break. I'm sure that Tadanari Lee will be helping him with those choice words to those younger teammates.
Interesting footwear selection by Faritz.
It was really an emergency one that was drawn. He lost the boots in the heat of battle earlier on. There we go, with Faritz reminding us that the glow-in-the-dark one is the one that he uses to kick. And that's the right boot. Sambongi, Idetsu's made that run once again. Sambongi couldn't find him inside the penalty box. Here is Idetsu. Tadanari Lee yet again getting himself outside of the box. They've asked for handball, but instead the referee's given a corner. Well, Tadanari's done a lot of his work outside of the penalty box instead of hunting inside of it, which just adds to the frustration of not just the number 19, but for all Albirex fans as well. They want him to be right up there as the main target man. But if it's not coming to him, he's going to come out to get it. And that's been the case for this first half. As the corner swung in, this time a much better delivery. It's got to be defended. Goes through a sea of players until that shot finally that came in was a disappointing one from Omori.
Well, I think some of the Tanjong Pagar defenders there were looking at the referee, saying that it should have perhaps been a handball against Albirex. But I don't think Keto Haria knew anything about that. cleared against him by Nishikawa. Actually, a shot coming out to Omori. Difficult one to hit. Lots of bodies in front of you there. It's coming to you quickly as well.
At least it gives Albirex some hope going into the second half. One good delivery in the end, and it asked a few questions of the Tanjong Pagar defence. Remember, it's a defence that's missing a few regulars. Sharon's out, Dan Bennett out, Shakir Hamza out, but they're keeping a clean sheet at the moment. Something that Jarfan Rohaiza didn't do at all last season as Tanjong Pagar's custodian. One final attack perhaps for Albirex. Can they conjure up something? Sambongi. Oh. The referee blows for half-time, and you'd have to say it's a half of shocks, especially if you're a follower of the Singapore Premier League and know the prowess of Albirex Niigata and what they've done over the last few years. The runners-up of last season have started the season in a timid fashion as Tanjong Pagar just prized open the defence time and time again in the opening 10 minutes. That's when they had their two goals, first of which a delightful ball that's sprayed in by a new guy, Sugic, into the path of Nishiguchi, who shot with a lot of venom past Koga. And the second goal took it cutely as he lifted it over the goalkeeper after another superb ball by Mirko Sugic. Albirex Niigata have it all to do in the second half. They trail by 2-0. 5 minutes with Albirex Niigata trailing Tanjong Pagar United by 2-0. Rain starting to peter down here at the stadium, and firepower needed, so Albirex make a substitution at halftime with Hilman Norisham being taken out and Kodai Tanaka being brought on, so that Tadanari Lee has a partner up front. And we were just talking about it, Roshan. Kodai Tanaka was not available, of course, for that Community Shield game against Lion City Sailors.
Yeah, they just joined the team and he's been made available. Kodai Tanaka has got a decent pedigree as well, having been with Yokohama F. Marinos as part of the youth setup. They've got quite good pedigree. You mentioned Cerezo earlier. They've got players from FC Tokyo, from Nagoya Grampus as well, and one from Kashima. So there are players who you expect a lot from just because of the environment that they've sort of developed in, that they've grown up in. And I think this is a change that we expected to happen with Hilman, who was very quiet in that first half. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't just him, it was the whole Albirex side. You could have taken any one of them off because the performances were very poor in that first half.
It's a fixture that is always very dear to the heart of Albirex Niigata. Their first ever match in the S-League, the Singapore Premier League, was against Tanjong Pagar back in 2004 when they won by 3-0. Oh, they have some chasing and catching up to do in this game now. But they are a side that can score in quick succession, and Tanjong Pagar will know all about that from their last meeting here. Might be asked to be a bit braver on the ball as well. As it's played into Idetsu, who's just about onside. Sambongi continued as a run down that right-hand side, but blocked out yet again by a very stubborn Tanjong Pagar defense. Just about got through to Omori, who takes a tumble. Looks at the referee, but Mr. Taufik was not interested at all. Semerik slashes that one away.
Ooh, I thought that was close, I think the problem there is that he goes down a little bit too late, as strange as it sounds, because there was a shove in his back from Nishikawa, just gotten on the wrong side of him.
Sugita, who kept probing in that first half. That's a good win, that one, by Rushaidi. Had to be cleared before the counter-attack was on for Shukri, who was an ever-willing runner. Here's a goal scorer searching for his hat-trick, Nishiguchi. Sugic provided those 2 goals. Calm, strong, powerful on the ball. Wanted the play to be continued by the referee. But, well, he has looked very impressive on his debut.
He certainly has, and again, just look at how confident he is, how composed he is in possession. 1, 2, 3 players around him, never mind. He's got the ability to hold on to the ball. Yes, technically keeps the ball close to him, but physically he's got that power as well, just to hold players off with his arms. And he was frustrated because he'd skipped past those challenges, and the pitch had actually opened up for Tanjong Pagar to go out and try and attack this Albirex side.
Here's Farid's new boy in, and the first yellow card of the match for Tanaka. Sugic, very much heavily involved in anything created from Tanjong Pagar in that first half. Yet again, he's holding off his player with relative ease. Rushaidi. A little bit more of a press now for Albirex Niigata in the second half. Nishikawa finally cedes possession. Finally trying to get that passing motion going, and that passing cadence takes it down this right-hand side. It's a lovely early cross, and opportunity right now. Just wide. It should have tucked it into the back of the net. It wouldn't have counted anyway because Tanaka was offside, but he should have scored.
Well, that's good from Albirex. You just see how much quicker they're moving the ball forward now. And he's going to have to trust the assistant referee on that side of the pitch, that he's got that one right. Sambongi just looking to lift it in for either Tadanari Lee or his strike partner Kodai Tanaka.
These Tadanari has got company in this second half. Was cutting a very isolated figure in that first 45 minutes Always making those runs and sometimes having to drop deep in order to get involved to the game. Much better intensity at the start of the second half than they showed in the opening 10 minutes of the match, where they looked very lackluster. That's a very lucky touch that gets its way through to Sugita. Shukri's touch allows Sambongi to storm away, but that is a storming challenge that came as well from Akari. Trying to tee it up for Ishiguchi. Omori, players in the box right now waiting for a good delivery, and it was a very good delivery. Was that handball? The referee says no, and the shot just goes straight into the arms of the goalkeeper then from Kobayashi. But that was an opportunity for Albirex. In that first instant, we thought that he was going to take that header on first time, but I don't understand why he didn't.
Well, it was a nice spread of play there from Kobayashi out to Omori, and surely there's handball. There's handball like 3-4 times there from Tadanari Lee. And look, it's incredible that there wasn't whistle for that. And perhaps the referee's gotten away with one in the sense that Kan Kobayashi just shot it straight into the arms of Zafan. What an opportunity for Albirex though.
And they've switched it very quickly down to this left-hand side yet again. Sugita couldn't get to the ball. The sliding challenge was a very good one from Nishikawa. It's a lot more assured of their passing in this second half already, especially with the switch of play and those diagonal passes, finding their men with a lot more accuracy than they did in the first half. Tadanari trying to work something out with Tanaka.
And everything's happening quicker for Albirex now. You can see, you know, with those switches, what they're doing is they're bypassing the player. Normally it would just be
It's a good ball inside by Jafan this time. Came, collected, conquered.
Just stop mid-sentence there to see how that one panned out. Zafan kick off his line to claim that. But instead of these short passes that go from one Albirex player to the next, laterally, sideways, which slows the play down, they're sort of saying we're going to bypass this one player in here and we're going to do a quick switch to the other side. So it sort of moves the ball quicker across the pitch, and what that does is it stretches Tanjong Pagar as well. It makes them move laterally, side to side a lot more, and they've got to cover that ground a lot quicker. We're already seeing it go from right to left into Omori on a couple of occasions early on in the second half, and that's where they've looked dangerous.
And Kobayashi to Haria. Sugiya once again always probing and looking for the run in the inside, playing with his head up, looking for any sort of channel that might be opened up. A dink inside was a very good one. Well, there was contact inside the penalty box, but another delayed reaction, this time from Tanaka.
He's claiming there was a stamp on him by Fatula, rolling around the ground.
Cross comes in. Sukic, the big man, is there at the far post and needed to be as well, because Tadanari Lee was right behind, waiting to gobble anything up. Loads of room right now for Idetsu to measure this cross, and it's a disappointing delivery in the end, considering how much time he had. Speaking of disappointing, that's a disappointing giveaway by Tanjong Pagar. Idetsu trying to open up the angle for the shot and just ran out of ideas and ran out of space. It's the figure of Yoshinaga, the Albirex coach. I'm sure he'll be a lot more positive and a happier person with the way his team started the second half. It's hunger and desire was completely missing in the first 45 minutes. Tadanari Lee yet again peeled outside, trying to tee it up for his strike partner Tanaka. Cross easily dealt with by Faritz. It's the old-fashioned toe poke, and he is on a run right now. A Japanese facing up against two Japanese, and it's the Albirex defender who comes out tops. Not the best of passes by Richito.
Yeah, it was really well defended by Haria. Just in that back line, you know, he had Nishiguchi running at him and looking to play it across to Shukri. He stepped across, won the first one, and then carried on, picked up the second one as well, and eventually ended up winning the free kick for his side. It's easing that pressure off, and Albirex get another go at this Tanjong Pagar defence.
One-way traffic after 10 minutes of the second half as Albirex seek a way back into this game. It needed to be swerved a lot more, and had Tadanari Lee telling his teammates, look, you played well enough, you've played the ball around and you've been very impressive with your passes. Now you need to calm down a little bit and not look for that probing pass, which is never there in the first place. Koga finally has a touch of the ball in the second 45 minutes, the Albirex goalkeeper. Kobayashi. Tadanari back to Kobayashi. Exchanging passes for Idetsu. Ambitious. He was always sailing wide.
Yes, his shape when he hit that just wasn't right. Timing. When he makes his connection with the ball, just have a look here. You know, he's facing sort of away from goal in a sense. It doesn't quite get the right kind of connection on it. He's trying to just bend it in towards that, get that dip towards that far post. Now the interesting thing for me here is Tanjong Pagar United, and when that fatigue sort of starts to creep in terms of the options on the bench, they don't have too many strong options to make those changes that they need to. They've got young players on there, or younger players on there. Whereas Albirex have the opportunity to make a few changes, bring on a couple more fresh legs if they need to.
Well, despite all the pressure that's been coming from Albirex Niigata, it's not a good sign, this one. Tanjong Pagar United, they might be forced into making a substitution. Is that Shukri who's down?
It's Rujaidi, I think it's who's feeling his knee. There's a bit of taping there as well on the inside of his knee, so he's coming into this perhaps already carrying a bit of a knock or an injury, some tape around his knee. And we saw Nishikawa actually signal that Rujaidi is looking to perhaps come off.
Well, they have the figure of Raihan Rahman, who can slip into anywhere in midfield or maybe even at fullback to come on in case they need substitution to be enforced.
Hey, come on, boys, come on, come on! Hey!
Yeah, it is going to be Raihan, as you mentioned.
One, position, position!
So Raihan Rahman does come on. They're trying to slip into that central midfield role, which is his prime position. Well, Albirex Niigata are certainly showing a lot more bite and appetite in the second 45 minutes. But the good news for Tanjong Pagar United is that it's still 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, they've largely been in trouble. I don't remember Albirex creating any sort of dangerous opportunity so far in this match. There was that one shot in the first half from Sugita. I think it was just the outside the box where Zafan didn't quite get enough on it with the save. But other than that, they've been comfortable.
Tadanari on the outside. The cross comes in. Was that handball? It looked as if it was handball.
Yeah, looked outside the box as well.
Akari, the first TP United player to be booked in this game.
There you go again. So congested in the middle. Just has to go out wide. You can see quite clearly his arm is out away from his body.
Yellow card though, Roshan?
Yeah. No, I think it's because of the intention behind it in terms of how he's put his hand up there, really just to block the cross out. He's got his arm really extended away from his body. I don't think he can have too many complaints about that. Listen, Tanjong Pagar are turning into a real bogey side for Albirex, aren't they?
At the moment, it looks that way. Tanaka inside the penalty box. A little taller than Rishuto. That cross delivered to the far post. It's kept alive. Once again, another dead ball situation wasted for Albirex Niigata, who haven't done much with those deliveries from those set pieces.
They're normally so good in those set piece situations, especially last season. Now what's actually happened is they've lost one of their coaches to Hougang, who actually was their set piece coach in a sense. He used to come up with all sorts of creative ways for them to set up last season. He's gone over to Hougang, so I think he's going to bring that skill set to the Cheetahs, and that should be a fascinating one to watch as well on Sunday. Hougang up against the Land City Sailors.
Certainly is shaping up to be the tie of the week, although this one's trying to steal its thunder with the way it started with that man on the ball. Nishiguchi scoring inside 10 minutes those 2 goals. Nishikawa managing to wriggle away from a couple of challenges. The shot comes in, it's charged down. Rishuto trying to keep it alive, but it's easily picked up. Oh, it's a nasty challenge. Raihan Rahman just storming into it with fangs. And then coming out of it with a lot of pain is Omori.
That is trademark Raihan Rahman sort of challenge. You know, that's what you're going to get out of him, and we've seen that in his career. He's going to go smashing into those tackles. He's late, doesn't make any sort of connection with the ball.
It's one of those challenges, isn't it, Roshan, that if you hold back on those challenges, you probably are the one getting injured. Well, Raihan hardly gets injured, and that's the reason why Sugic, even he's looking a little tired with that touch. Kan Kobayashi, a lot more movement off the ball in the second half for Albirex. So a potpourri of options to pick out every time a player is on the ball. And the player on the ball now is Sugita. The touch on was good enough. Well, he tried to just squeeze it inside. It was almost an impossible pass. Richuto managing to tow it away, but back they come. It's a yellow tide that's besieging this Tanjong Pagar squad. Clever ball down the line for Tadanari, who keeps it in play. Tanaka inside the penalty box waiting for a good delivery. He certainly has the height to feast on those. It's a disappointing effort in the end. Well, whatever Hasrin Jailani has said to his team before the start of the game, I'm sure one of them would be that the organisation has got to be good, and you'd have to say that the organisation, especially at the back, that call from coach has been heeded.
I mean, Tanjong Pagar in these situations as well with Zafan will just take as long as he possibly can on every goal kick. They're looking really good so far. I mean, great bit of skill from Blake Rishuto there as well. Just to hang on to it, skip past a couple of challenges, and then slow it down with the pass back into Farid's.
Oh, it's lovely work from Nishiguchi. Shukri still managing to keep the move alive. Momentum not dead yet. Raihan, Rishuto, almost managing to squeeze the ball through to Nishikawa. Had bombed forward from that right-hand side, right wing back. Nishikawa, whose first ever goal in the SPL was scored in 2020 against tonight's opponent, Albirex. Kobayashi. Getsu. A lot more shape behind that cross, but once again, they just cannot get past this blue wall.
It's good defending from Tanjong Pagar. How they squeeze those spaces in the middle of the penalty area. And just saw American Rishuto there crowding out around Sugita. As that ball is played in from Idetsu. Another Tanjong Pagar player going down. Shukri.
This is not a good sign. The only 2 players left on the bench, outfield players, Azim Akbar and Hari Putradita. Hari will be the natural replacement for him.
And calling for the stretcher, he's feeling his back of his leg there. Let's see what the signal is. Try and perhaps give themselves a couple of minutes. The trainer, the physios come on, see if we can sort this out within the next couple of minutes. As you mentioned, options really thin on the bench. You've got two goalkeepers there, and Fasha and Namir. Unless they think one of them can do a job up front, perhaps playing as a target man.
Or whatever it is, Tanjong Pagar United have shown, not just in this match, but with the players that they've acquired for 2022, that they are going to be a very interesting side. I mean, never in your life, Roshan, would you have imagined Daniel Bennett in the same side as Noor Alam Shah as his coach? After the fracas that happened all those years ago, would you have imagined that? Well, it's happening now.
Yeah, they're not going to wait to see if they can sort it out. They have decided they're going to make the change. Hadi Putradila, Saswadimata coming on. And yes, that name sounds familiar. You should know why.
Good old Saswadimata Dazuki, who is Mr. Dependable in the center of the pitch. Tanaka, what's been a rare touch for him in the second 45 minutes. Kobayashi was told that he had company. Releases Sambongi back to Kobayashi. There was a lot more involved in the second 45 minutes. Tadanari Lee, oh, that's a clever ball, but well watched yet again by Akari. I mean, he's been so solid defensively today, Akari Abdullah. Very disciplined as well. Another ball spread out to Omori, trying to look for the angle for the cross. Finds it. Did it take a deflection? The answer is no. Another disappointing delivery from Albirex.
Yeah, again, there's been nothing through the middle, and it's how compact Tanjong Pagar United have been, how congested it's been in those areas. Albirex have gone out into the wider channels, or they've taken shots from range, and the quality hasn't quite been there. And even when they get it down to those wider positions, the quality from the crossing hasn't been good enough.
Well, every time Tanjong Pagar have the ball, it comes right back at them in double quick time. No nonsense yet again from Fatula, just hooking the ball away, far away from danger as possible. You'd have to say that the youngster Fatula has acquitted himself pretty well in the back line for Tanjong Pagar tonight.
He's someone I said at the start I rate really highly. I think he did such a great job for them in midfield last season. In this game, he's been asked to play in the heart of that back three, and he's done a good job.
Sugita. Kobayashi's usually at the heart of these moves. This time it's Kakuta. Idetsu, Sambongi. Chance for the shot at goal. Oh, he bounced off his own teammates. I believe it was Tadanari Lee was right there and couldn't react fast enough. It's actually Tanaka. Couldn't react fast enough to open his legs to allow the ball to run through it.
It's starting to feel like one of those nights for Albirex where, you know, you're just trying, huffing and puffing, you're trying to find that breakthrough, and it comes off his own teammate. It's a shot from Kan Kobayashi. It comes off Kodai Tanaka. Big chance for Albirex again. I mean, they worked that one out really well.
Corner situation. Just eluded Tadanari Lee, who went hunting at the near post, trying to attack that delivery, which was flat. Hidetsu. Right into the mix. Tadanari Lee sets it up. Brave from Jafan. Tanaka couldn't get at the end of it.
Again, it goes out wide to Idetsu, back into the middle. Just lifted it in from Kan Kobayashi. And Zafan, I mean, he knew a knock was coming, but he had to go out and claim that. It's good goalkeeping from Zafan. Trying to find their way back into this game. Mark Albirex, I mean, they're really turning the screws, applying the pressure, but it's not quite happening at the moment.
The take was very good, killed instantaneously by Sugita. Tadanari Lee once again peeled out on the outside, hoping for a good delivery. Couldn't get it, but he gets a corner. He wants to take it quickly, and he does. Kobayashi right there. Clipped cross, controlled well enough first time out. One took a deflection, it's going down for another corner. Well, they're forcing the corners, they're forcing the set pieces, but they're not doing much with it.
I mean, you get a sense that a goal or a dangerous opportunity is going to come for Albirex, but it just hasn't quite happened yet. Again, that's cleared away.
Bray from Emmerich. Hidetsu. One went very long and far. It was very well done to keep it alive, but everyone had gone inside the 6-yard box and no one was lurking outside of it. Nishikawa asking for help with the clearance from Fatula, and he obliges. There he is, a player scored in that 4-all draw the last time these two sides met. Kakuta. Sugita. Nowhere around that very crowded Tanjong Pagar midfield. Rishuto. Oh, I tell you what, his studs were showing then for a while. And lowered it just at the right time. And he's set Nishiguchi off on another run. That's very ambitious. And that's what happens when you're the lone forward, reduced to isolation.
I think he was thinking back to what Luis Jr. did in that 2-1 win here in the 84th minute, where a ball was bouncing into Albrex's half and Luis Jr. scored the winner from range, spotting Koga well off his line.
Tanaka took it first time. It really had to generate his own power because there wasn't enough venom behind that cross. And easy for Zafan Rohaizat. Really only about a couple of saves of note from Zafan tonight, despite all of Albirex's dominance. One of them from Kobayashi, point blank. He slammed it straight at him. Hidetsu. Tanaka. This time he is drawn on the outside while Tadanari Lee spearheads his Albirex attack. Omori. Sugita trying to open up the angle maybe for a shot. Sugita stung the palms of Zafan in the first 45 minutes. That's a clever ball. Tanaka. Cut back, almost finding a teammate. Tanaka says, don't play it to me, I'm in an offside position. So they go back. Sambongi couldn't find the angle for the cross. Zafan couldn't keep it in play. Corner Albirex.
I think they're expecting this, Tanjong Pagar. They know Albirex have to come out at them, and as the game goes on, they're just going to keep piling on their pressure. Albirex starting to get a little bit more desperate, starting to push more players further forward. Tanjong Pagar just trying to hang on.
Well, a goal here for Albirex will set up a compelling, intriguing final 15 minutes. Hidetsu once again to the far post, once again too long. Shuto almost helping Albirex out by blocking that and keeping it in play. Hidetsu curled superbly. Well, he found the teammates, but that ball was always rising. He couldn't get ahead. And on top of the ball, Tadanari.
It was a good cross from Hidetsu. Much better quality delivery from that wide area. It's good marking in the box. Rishuto's close enough just to put Tadanari Lee off that header. Again, he connects underneath the ball instead of getting up and over it to head it back down towards goal.
Sugic. Very smart, very intelligent. You can see the appreciation shown by his Australian teammates who applauded that.
And exactly the kind of player they need, I think, Tanjong Pagar this season, and especially in these situations. You know, two players in there, in Rishuto and Sugic, who can hang on to the ball under pressure, know how to win free kicks. They've got the strength, they've got the quality just to hang on to it here. Just have a look here. This is really good work from him. I mean, what he does is frustrates Albirex. They don't have the ball, they can't go out and attack. Eats away a few seconds. And if he can earn free kicks, slow the game down a little bit more, or just hang on to it for his side, give his defense a bit of a chance to catch their breath.
Well, he is in his mid-20s, Sugic. We can tell you, although he looks as if he's on a spring break here in Singapore, it certainly is. And the way that he's not only set up those 2 goals, but held the ball superbly well whenever he's had the opportunity to, and just calmed matters down for Tanjong Pagar. Farid's just enough juice behind that header to get it back to Jarfan.
That was good defending by Fatullah once again. He was up against Kodai Tanaka. He just showed enough physicality there to make sure that Tanaka couldn't make any sort of contact with the ball, and then had the covering defender from Farid's come and clean up.
It's a perfect word to use there, Roshan, because Tanjong Pagar, the way that they've defended even from midfield, they've always had cover. The helper situation that they've employed quite brilliantly tonight. Has been a team effort, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been such an impressive team effort. Exactly that. And you know, Hasrin, if they end up winning this, hope I haven't just jinxed it, but they end up winning this, he can be really proud of the efforts of his players. I mean, you look at the selection in terms of players that are available to them. Options on the bench, they lack those options, and it's not been easy for them coming into this match, preparing for this match at all. But somehow they've worked incredibly hard, and they've taken the chances. They've been clinical with those 2 opportunities that they scored those 2 goals from, and that's given them something to hang on to.
And what confidence they will take with them if they manage to hang on to this in the final 13 minutes. Well, they found a way through this Tanjong Pagar defense. Once again, brave defending, this time from Nishikawa, who tucked in from right wing back to ensure that the shot had some resistance.
I tell you what, it's initially he's the one who's playing them onside, and he gets caught out of position, but he sees it late. But what he has is recovery pace and the presence of mind to get himself back goal side and put in a good challenge. He's ended up with a bit of cramp as well.
As treatments meted out to him, we talked about it earlier on, what confidence Tanjong Pagar will take if they win this tonight. They finished 5th last season. We talked about the fact that they had a better second half of the season than they did, and this after what happened in 2020, where they failed to win a single match in the Singapore Premier League. But 2022, I mean, 1 match, 1 win already, and who knows, it might be watch out Tanjong Pagar for the rest of the season. These veterans might have some legs and some skills in terms of in between the years to actually take them perhaps for a top 3 push. And remember, the Khairul brothers still to come. Amri, Nizam.
Yeah, I mean, if they put in this sort of performance, imagine when they've got a proper squad available to them, what they can actually do. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, can they sort of keep up these performances? Can they keep this this level going? I mean, the inconsistency is going to come in at some point. That is clear. But can they put themselves in contention for a top 4 spot? You know, and potentially a continental place or something like that down the line.
Well, they'll have to play with 10 men momentarily as Nishikawa receives a bit of treatment. I'm sure he'll be back on the pitch, raring to go once again. Jarfan Rohaizat is 12 minutes away from keeping his first clean sheet since the 28th of July 2019. His first clean sheet ever against Albirex Niigata. He's helped the cause, especially with that big save of his in the second half. Shot came straight at him, but he made himself huge. Takuta, Kobayashi has been the more creative of the 2 central midfielders. Omori, players available for the cross, and another disappointing delivery. both flanks, Roshan. Those deliveries that have come into the penalty box have just been very, very poor tonight.
Well, this was something that was really frustrating as well in the Community Shield. The delivery from wide areas, the crossing and the quality of those deliveries from those positions have just been very poor. And yes, the spaces there will open up, but then what are you doing with those spaces? And not being able to be very effective with the crosses into the box to really trouble Tanjong Pagar.
Oh, that was a nasty challenge. Nothing malicious on that. I don't think he intended that. Jose Kakuta came in strong against Ricciuto, I should say.
Well, it's the first one. There's the second one here. It's Kakuta, and then Ricciuto gets two knocks. One on the front of his head here from Kakuta's shoulder, and then as he falls to the turf, the back of his head as well.
Just to even it out.
Hope he's all right. Yeah, he's all right. Ricciuto is. He looks more than happy to continue.
There's a lot of cushion there with that head of hair.
I was just going to say that. Nice stuff to back to. Cushion that fall.
My first, he's such an interesting figure, isn't he? Blake, who's played his football in Uruguay and now playing his trade in Singapore.
They're not happy that Ricciuto has had to leave the pitch for treatment. They're saying he was foul, referee. Why does he need to go off?
Might be back on the pitch again. Yes, he is back on the pitch again. Man who's a dead ringer for the lead singer of Simply Red, Mick Hucknall. He's doing things simply in this game. It's very effectively, and it's kept this tigerish approach from the Jaguars, which have ensured that there's no way through for the Albirex midfielders in finding space. 8 minutes remaining. Taking as much time as possible from this free kick. I don't think they're going to commit too many players forward. Tanjong Pagar, there are bodies in the box. Koga this time comes and puts rubber to rubber, and that effort will waste a lot more time as it leaves the stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it would have liked that to have been a better attempt at goal, but it's fine. As long as you finish off the move, Albirex have got to restart it with a goal kick, and that means you've got time to get yourselves back in your own half, get yourselves back in an organised defensive shape. So there's no real threat of a transition.
Sugita, one-on-one with Nishikawa, hasn't really gotten the better of him all night long. Goes out to Sambongi. Idetsu. Oh, he's made something out of it. He's gone down Tadanari Lee. Oh, that's Tanaka, I should say. A little soft though, says the referee, so no penalty.
That was about as blatant as a dive as you'd get. And I think Tadanari Lee in the Community Shield as well took a dive to get the penalty. As we see another change here, Fairoz Hassan coming on for Tatsuya Sambongi. Just going to push Fairoz into an advanced position here and really sort of go for it. So Detsu plays it across.
Yet again clipped into the box, and it's too straight, too direct. Easy for Zhafan. Omori once again has got to go square central. Kakuta, much better ball to Tadanari Lee, who had beaten the offside trap. Emmerich right in front of him. Tadanari rolls it for Kakuta. Another sliding challenge from Sugic. Another disappointing effort from Fairoz with his first touch of the ball.
trying to make something happen, trying to make an immediate impact from off the bench. His effort completely wrong. Sugic now, time for him to go down with a bit of cramp.
It's what you expect from the first game of the season. You're going to see a lot more of that from this opening weekend as players come back to match fitness.
It's just having a bit of a chuckle there. Sugic was looking for a bit of help to get it back on his feet. I think it was a bit too heavy for Farid. A few more deadlifts for you, Farid, I think.
Tanaka is managing to keep the ball alive. Faro's all the way back to Idetsu, who is now occupying that left back slot. Right back slot, I should say. Amori's still at left full back. So he tries to measure that cross in. It's not a bad cross. It finds the teammates, but was always behind him. Emmerich, yet again, does the sensible, simple things, which is to get it away from danger. Tadanari deep in the box, easy for Zarfan.
Yeah, so close now, Tanjong Pagar. Picking up their first 3 points of the season on opening day.
Nishiguchi, exactly what the doctor ordered. A throw in around the middle of the pitch and a chance to keep possession of the ball. It's great hold-up play, isn't it, by Nishiguchi. Clever ball as well by Sugic. And that scream to keep the ball deep into the own half. That scream, which Sugic really did not take heed as he tried to get another attack going, looking for goal number 3 this late on.
It was a good ball, wasn't it, from Sugic initially to Akari, and clever play by Akari just to hold it up.
Tanaka. Nishikawa is there yet again. Haven't seen much of him as an attacking force, but boy has he defended as if his life has depended on this game. And it was needed as well, especially in the opening minutes when Albirex attacked more from his side. Risciuto is there in the penalty box.
Yeah, Risciuto outstanding defensively again, dropping into the penalty area, helping his defenders out, heading that away, doing what a good defensive midfielder should be doing, and making sure he keeps his defensive discipline by dropping into those areas. Sometimes you see midfielders just switching off and not running into the box, not closing that gap. There you go. Have a look in between Farid and Fatullah.
I know it's only the first match of the season, Roshan, but I figure that a lot of teams throughout the season are going to find it difficult to get past that tandem of Sugic and Risciuto in the middle of the park.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating one to keep an eye on throughout the rest of the season, what they do now in terms of the structure, in terms of the shape, the selection. Tanjong Pagar, once they get players coming back into the squad, and Hasrin has options to work with.
Amori has been available lots of times but hasn't really used the ball well enough. This time there are players in the box but that needed to be hooked just outside the 6-yard box and not right back at him. Amori taken over by Kobayashi, sets this one up for Idetsu. Fairoz Tadanari making the run just ahead of him. Idetsu taking on all comers. Cut back, finding no one. Kakuta. It works that one well enough. Tanaka just lifting it, hoping for the best. Tadanari Lee tumbled. Yet again, no penalty. Idetsu right into the box. Oh, that should have been At least one back for Albirex Niigata. Once again, a little too high, and Tanaka couldn't grow enough.
What a big chance. What a big chance. Idetsu finally, again, quality into the box. That's a brilliant ball into the box, and Tanaka, it's almost like he's taken his eye off the ball and the ball's hit him rather than him connecting with the header. It's hit the side of his head and gone wide of goal. Wow, that was a big opportunity. And again, what did I say at the start of this one? Albrex's problem at times has been not taking their chances when they've dominated the opposition, and that's another great example of that.
Added time coming up. Fyros chasing a lost cause, and it seems to be a lost cause for Albirex in the opening game. Yoshinaga will suffer his first loss in the Singapore Premier League in 35 games, dating back to the 3rd of July 2017. Chastening experience for him, tells him the task at hand with his new side that he's inherited. 4 added minutes. Tanjong Pagar United look on course to carry on from where they left off in 2021. Took them 6 matches before they got their first win last season. They might get it in the first time of asking this year. And Albirex actually started the season last year undefeated in their first 13. Seem likely to lose, most likely to lose in just their first of the year. How the tables have turned.
And Ishikawa's feeling that cramp again. Almost there now.
It's the pride of Tanjong Pagar. This will be their 130th win in the Singapore Premier League. Wins have been hard to come by for them over the last few years, for a side that have finished runners-up 3 times in the league. 560 goals now in the league after the 2 that scored. Clean sheets. That's the pride of the defence and goalkeeper. And they've got 2 more minutes to hang on to this. Albirex take the corner quickly. The angles open up for the cross, and once again another flat, poor delivery. The story of the game for Albirex Niigata. Kakuta hung that one for a long time. Rishuto is there. Farid's trying to storm away with the ball. Does the sensible thing, which is to play it into an open space so that his team can reorganize.
He's an experience there. I mean, I don't think you're going to see many Tanjong Pagar United players bombing forward this late on. He's playing into that space, saying to Albirex, you come at us again.
Omori. Emmerich stuck his leg out. Great intervention. Interception from him. It's loose. And they still don't get a consolation. Fyros is there. And how brave have these Tanjong Pagar defenders been throughout this game?
I mean, they've put their bodies on the line. Defensively, they've put themselves about. They've thrown their bodies in front of these shots and challenges. They know they're going to get hurt. Just have a look at the desperation there to make sure that Fyros can't get a clean shot on goal. Akari and Farid colliding with each other. They'll be all right, I'm sure. Bit more time to be added on.
Azim, the latest to come on. And as we head into the dying embers of this game, Ishikawa, latest to be taken off for Tanjong Pagar. So Hasrin Jailani makes full use of his 3 outfield players that he has on the bench. Well, Roshan, what would you make of Albirex Niigata and what they have to do to get themselves back in the league with the Lion City Sailors? You just feel as if you can't lose a lot of matches this year.
No, you can't. I don't think you can with the level of competition that the Lion City Sailors are going to provide and the quality that they have. Look, I mean, First of all, don't concede. 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. That would be nice for a start. What a great moment this is for this young man, Azim, getting his opportunity here in his debut for Tanjong Pagar. But back to Albirex. I mean, look, they just look so flat tonight, and it's just incredible. Even the response to going that goal down, and it was 2 goals down, and not being able to sort of muster up any sort of real dangerous opportunity, aside from that one header from Tanaka very late on.
Tadanari still trying to conjure up something all by himself. Available Idetsu, another cross easily dealt with by Tanjong Pagar. Do you think Tanjong Pagar will be challenging this year, Roshan? Judging from this,
no, I don't think they'll be realistically challenging for the title. But look, the league needs more teams like this to step up. The more competitive it is, the better for the whole league, and the better for Singapore football. So it's great to see that Tanjong Pagar have come here despite all the difficulties and have really put in a fantastic fight and look like they're going to be coming away with all 3 points.
Well, unless a real miracle happens, I don't think it's going to happen. They might even keep a clean sheet here. Fyros loses possession of the ball. It might get even better right now for Tanjong Pagar, but they can't keep a hold of it. And what a morale-boosting victory this is for Tanjong Pagar United. 2 goals against Albirex Niigata. The first shock of the season comes on the first night of the season in the 2022 AIA Singapore Premier League. The damage was done in the first 10 minutes. Nishiguchi getting a goal after 47 seconds, and then 9 minutes 47 seconds he pounced, both set up by Mirko Sugic, in what was an impressive victory for the Jaguars.
Outstanding team performance, and Nishiguchi was very clinical with the opportunities that he had. Got those 2 early goals, Tanjong Pagar United, and that really set the tone for the game. They could sit back, they could defend deep, very compact, really organized. A few individuals working incredibly hard to help this side out as well along the way, but overall a fantastic team performance.
That was the final stats. 21 shots from Albirex, a lot of it coming in the second 45 minutes where they had to chase the game. The shot on target percentage only 23% from the 21. That tells you the full story, isn't it? Not a lot of saves for Tanjong Pagar United's Shafan Rohaizad, who keeps his first clean sheets in 19 matches. So they are the early leaders of the Singapore Premier League this season. Tomorrow, remember, Balestier Khalsa take on Tampines Rovers. And we don't like a lead that's dominated by teams. Lion City Sailors and Albirex Niigata would of course disagree with that, but we'd love to see giant killing episodes once in a while. And on the first night itself, we've already had a giant killing episode with Tanjong Pagar United beating Albirex Niigata by 2-0 at the Jurong East Stadium.
Gracias.